People, Deluded, I'm back again. I got the legend that is Kenny Ken. It's Friday, the sun's shining, and we got a lot to discuss, my guy. What are you saying? You good?
It's all good, it's all good. Yeah, it's been like a very poignant, last day. Yesterday we lost football, lost
R.I.P.
Football lost Diego Jota. In the prime of his life, in the prime of his career.
28, man. Fucking
28.
God bless his soul.
God bless his soul. Most importantly, I think that I understand people are talking a lot about his wife and the kids, but don't forget the parents. You should always
lost two sons.
Two sons, and far as I know, that's their only children as well. So let's not forget the parents. Sometimes when things like happen, people forget the parents. I understand in some cultures that the parents become secondary when they get married. No, mate. They're just as important. Let me tell you something now. If that happens to you burying your kid before
you kill you inside.
That is your life over. That is your life ruined. So, let's spare a thought for them as well.
And it's sad, man. The man's 28, just won something with Portugal, just won something with Liverpool, 20, wearing number 20, lost his life in a car, man. And I know it's cliche. We always say these kind of things when people die, like you got to cherish every moment, but you truly do, man. So thoughts are with his family. It sucks, man. It sucks. Like, obviously, I don't know him, but I think everybody in the footballing community, Kenny, like it really upset everybody naturally. I think it upset any human being.
You know what it is because I think nowadays, obviously, we don't kind of like relate to them. But what we've noticed for a lot of footballers these days is that in the 90s, it was kind of the sort of like Spice Boys, Royal Britannia, where we just thought they were upstarts. And then about probably 10 years afterwards, you had the bad behaviour, the roasting scandals and everything. And now you're seeing examples of footballers becoming outstanding human beings. Marcus Rashford, what he did for, kids in poverty with school meals.
Sterling.
Saka, Raheem Sterling. They're outstanding people who put things back in their community. And that's why football fans do feel generally upset when they hear things like that about people like Diego Jota because of the fact that he's comes across as an outstanding person. One thing I would say, everyone says the right things. Oh, yeah, life. Enjoy your life. Yeah, but you have to enjoy your life as well, where life is not just about, having fun. It's also about serious things, having debates, having arguments. Life's about everything. I'm sure his parents were killed to have a family argument with their sons. So that's what life's about. It's not just about having fun. It's about the whole package. You just kill.
His kids as well, man. Sucks, Kenny, man. Like his kids, he's got married, bare stuff.
It's the saddest thing you ever know. I think as soon as we all heard, and we probably all heard at the same time, we genuinely did not believe for 1 minute that this would be true. Because even if some of them shared it with you, you had to go on TV. And when you went to Sky Sports, they didn't actually announce it. You had to go to Sky News and BBC News. And then an hour after BBC News and Sky Sport, Sky News announced it, then the sports channel got hold of it.
When I woke up, Kenny, I literally saw it. Like, I don't know why, but I think things just come up on X. I literally woke up and it said 3 minutes ago. I think the Spanish newspaper Marca reported it, or at least to my knowledge, that was the first place it came out. And yeah, just car crash and whatnot. And you know what I would say? I mean, anyone can die in any way, anywhere in it, but with a car, that can happen to anyone, in it. Like, that's why I think it thingy, because I don't feel in life we necessarily like are thankful for our blessings. Like, to leave your house and come back, like, God knows what he was doing. He could have just been going to the shop. And I would say as well, I like, even me, we both said his brother, but forgetting there's two people that died. It's sad, man. It's sad. Big up yourself, man.
It's the worst pain you'll ever encounter. The worst. You wouldn't wish that in your worst enemy. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and that's the worst thing about it, is that the parent. That's why I feel sorry for parents. You don't bring kids up in order to bury them. You just don't.
It sucks, man. It sucks. From one decent human being. Oh yeah, I was gonna go over that, but I'm gonna say this with the Thomas Partey thing. It annoys me. Like, obviously, every decent human being can say fuck Thomas Partey. We don't agree with what he did. I personally think it could be some level of cover up from the club, but just fuck Thomas Partey. So please, people in the chat, yeah, fuck Partey. We're not here with that. The club are complicit, in my opinion, because it does look like, okay, you tried to give him a renewal. It looks like you might have got a bit of wind that it's going south. 5 charges. We don't. Nobody on this platform, and I'm sure no one in the chat comprehends it, but condones what he did in it. So we're not gonna keep going over the Thomas Partey stuff. So we're gonna nip that one in the bud immediately. Did you not think, obviously, owing to Jota, the unfortunate events with Jota, do you not think, had that not been the case, we might have announced Zubimendi?
I will probably go on to say yes and no. The first thing is, again, RIP to a quality player. And there's a couple of times where I said we needed someone like Diogo Jota in our side, someone to come in and actually ruffle things up. But at the same time, there were a couple of people that were supposed to stream yesterday or do a couple of things yesterday, and they didn't, just out of respect and stuff. Again, I think we need to announce it as soon as possible, because the fans are itching now. The fans are getting a bit worried. Is it done? Is it not done? We know it's done, but the fans just want to see the unveiling of the shirt. We've done Kepa, so let's get it out and do Zubimendi. But again, sad day yesterday. Even when I woke up yesterday and I saw it, even though I'm not a Liverpool fan, it still shocks your heart, because first of all,
human being at the end of the day.
I'm a football fan. You know what I mean? I'm a football fan and I'm a human being, like you said. And the fact that he got married that 5-6 days ago, just under a week ago, 3 children. Life is precious, man. Life is very, very precious. Life is very precious.
Sorry, I'm just replying to the
Said.
I mean, the Jota thing, I don't want to keep going over it because it upsets me and whatnot, but it's pretty damn damning. But yeah, RIP Jota. Let's get into some football now. First thing I want to ask you, lot, do you two believe that we're gonna get 3 attackers? So that could be an Eze, a striker, and a left winger. Do you lot think we're gonna get that over the line?
I'm not sure. I think I've always been of the opinion that as much as Arsenal fans talk about striker, I always thought that the left-hand side is just as important, if not a little bit more. But the way we're looking at it is that we know what we're getting. We know we've already got a couple Kepa over the line. We've already got we're going to get Norgard, and after that it's probably going to be a striker. But in terms of left-hand side, we've heard nothing concrete at all. It's just speculation, because this guy Eze, for the last 2 years, he's been in discussion with Spurs, and for some reason Spurs can't get over the line. That's weird. That's weird. A player that you needed, I don't understand why you haven't sorted it up. You just given Arsenal an opportunity. We don't know how far the negotiations have gone, but in terms of like getting a few attackers in, you know what? I'm going to put my head on the parapet and they're going to say, you know what? Sesko's the player we're going to get. It's not going to be Gyokeres. It's not a player that Mikel Arteta wants. So we get Sesko. Then after that, we got a small chance of getting this guy, Eze. I'm not sure though, but yeah. And I think that we'll probably get a few loan signings in, because everyone's talking about Madueke.
We're not going to get no loan signings, Kenny, man.
Hey, time flies. We did it last year. Time flies. This is going to the 11th hour. We don't get the players we need in the 11th hour. It will be loan signings.
Trust me. God forbid. God forbid.
Why not? It's the way we do business. Last year, we knew, because Sesko didn't come to the club, we abandoned going for a striker. Realizing we needed more players in, we went and got Sterling on loan because he was made available. That's what Arsenal tend to do. They like an open goal.
Yeah, I'll say this as well, Kenny, is that I think last year the difference is that we didn't have a Berta. We had an Edu, where he's more of like a sniper, where he's focusing on one shot, right? And he wants to get that one shot, as opposed to Berta. He's more of the assault rifle. He's kind of spraying and basically looking at multiple targets. That's the way I kind of see him. And I think,
I'm not gonna lie, the sniper. I hear the example, but I'd rather Berta be the sniper for that. But yeah, go on.
I hear that, but the thing is that when we had that sniper sort of analogy last year, look where he left us. He left us with Sterling and Neto. right? So
Mm.
the good thing that we're doing now is that we're looking at Sesko because listen, Sesko has done this before, where everything's all right, contract signed. I mean, not contract signed, contract's about to be signed, and then last minute he was like, no, I want to stay for whatever reasons. Berta and Arsenal club have learned from that. So now we're looking at multiple targets because Sesko could be like, no, I'm going to stay, or I want this, I want release clauses, whatever we're hearing. We need to pivot automatically, immediately, and be like, okay, Sesko, you don't want to come? Gyokeres, here you are. So I think it's very smart from the club. We've learned from our lessons. We have to.
And Ollie Watkins is still linked with us in the back burners as well.
I would have him as a second
Man
striker.
United as well.
Yeah, United. That's a good. It's two good moves potentially lined up.
Yeah. It has to be. Yeah, and the thing is that me personally, I would want to see either a Sesko or a Gyokeres and a Watkins. You know, we need that. We need that.
You need that more than an Eze, a left winger, Eze, and a striker. So if you got Watkins and like if you got two strikers, whether that's Watkins or Gyokeres, Sesko and Gyokeres, or Eze, some level of a left winger, maybe not necessarily Rodrygo for this, and a forward, which option are you picking?
Personally, I don't know about you, Kenny, but I would go for an Eze and a striker, just because of the versatility of Eze.
You know what? I think I agree with the Eze man, because yesterday I was on Sophie's show, and I initially went for Rodrygo. Then I thought, you know what? In football, it's impossible to get a like for like signing, because it just doesn't happen. Players have got different attributes. Like everyone was talking about Xhaka being a Xhaka position. I mean, what's the Xhaka position? Mikel Arteta changed the way we played. By changing the way we played, we didn't actually need that Xhaka position. And I think it's the same. I was on Sophie's show and I said that, do you remember the time when we had Mark Overmars and he was like an express train, direct, score goals? Then we've got Robert Perez. Robert Perez was light years away from Mark Overmars, but a better player and gave us a bit more. And that's why when I look at Martinelli, I think Eze is not going to do what Martinelli does, but he gives us other attributes as well, which is
penetrate central areas a lot more.
I think that's where we need. I think sometimes when you try to sign light for light pay, become too predictable in the way you play football. Your position sussed you out. Look, that's one thing about the Premier League is that they're very, very good at sussing you out. Like if you surprise them in one season, the next season they know about your strengths. Like last season, teams worked us out. Man City, teams began to work Man City out because they tried to play the same way, but they didn't have the same sort of athletes in their midfield and the same sort of like physical power. So teams were able to suck it up and then go at them, know full well that they didn't have players who could track back who have the legs. And I think sometimes you've got to tweak if you can't tweak the way you play, just get a player in that gives you something.
Get some players out off the cuff.
Yeah, that's it, which SA is.
And the thing is, I know I'm jumping ahead a bit, but we've vaguely been linked with Morgan Rogers previously. In fact, the Athletic said we like Eze, we like Morgan Rogers, and we like Morgan Gibbs White. The only thing that I think they all have in like they're all similar with is the fact that they're all British, obviously. But I think we're missing that. I wouldn't quite say it's they're all creative players, but I wouldn't quite say it's creativity. They can all, play in the pockets in low blocks. They can all drive. They all provoke havoc. And I think it's too kind of piggybacking off what Kenny said. I think it's too easy to suss us out. If you lock down Saka, we're in issues. But then if you've got an Eze, if you've got a Saka, if you've got other people, there's only so much people that could be man marked. Do you not really feel Eze upgrades us? Like is he really like? Is he a level raiser? I guess I'm looking for.
Personally, I think massively. If you look at his stats as well, per game, he's generating at least 3 clear-cut chances. It's very hard for us to do, especially, for example, when Odegaard, where he had a bad season last year and everything was trying to go through him and it wasn't going through him. We need someone there that's actually able to create these clear-cut chances. We need someone that has a bit of flair that's thinking, you know what? I'm not going to just pass it. I'm actually going to go and dribble a couple of players and draw players into me, leaving gaps for other players to go into. We don't have that. We don't have a ball runner to take it from deep and then kind of drive into the final third, draw players into them, leaving gaps. Rice does it, but we need someone a bit more technical. Someone like Eze, he's been doing it, like Kenny says, he's been doing it for 2 years. 2 years in a Crystal Palace side. No offense to Crystal Palace, great side, but obviously, when you come into a team like Arsenal where you've got ballers around you, he's only going to thrive. And I think he takes us from where we are now to another level. If we get a striker as well, Saka and Eze on the left, I think it's going to be a new level. And that's what I personally feel.
Kenny, do you feel he'll be the out-and-out option off the left? Because one thing that I would say enticed me with, obviously I want 3 attackers, is that apparently we want Eze regardless of our pursuits of a left winger and a forward. So like, would he be that left wing option, or is he seen as someone that can kind of play everywhere? Because he can play through the middle, can play off the right, can play in the 8, can play in all the guards role. And obviously, as RYL said, he can play off the left.
Well, you want someone who can give you something different. You know what I mean? Different dimension. You know, make the opposition guess. Eze's that kind of player. We know he's a big game player, albeit at Crystal Palace. You know, if he wasn't free in Crystal Palace, he'll never won a trophy. So we know he'll turn up for big games. We know he's an international for England. You know, he had some cameo appearances at Euro 2024. So this is a big player. He's ready for the big time. He's definitely a player where if Arteta gets it right, you don't just sort of like seclude him to the left. Give him a kind of like a freer role when we're in the attack. Obviously, I understand how Arteta plays. He likes to get men behind the ball. He likes the work rate. But when we're in attack, one of the things that worries me is our attacks are so slow, so predictable. Set piece this and set piece that. That's why you can't break down low blocks with slow ball football. It's speed. Look at PSG. It was speed of mind, speed of foot, speed of passing, speed in terms of getting in positions. What that does is that it makes the opposition tired. Doesn't matter how you low block.
You can't defend low block for 90 minutes if you're doing that. You're right, Ken.
If you move the ball quickly, then the opposition have to think quickly as well, and they can't do that. And that's how you beat low block. But by just playing a measured way of playing, all you're doing is asking for trouble, because what will happen is the opposition, like they did at the Emirates when we played, suck it up, soak it up, stay in there, pray the goalkeeper has a good game, pray they do all their bits and pieces to disrupt their set pieces, and then after 70 minutes when we're tiring, let's have a go. Let's see what we can do. Let's see how Arsenal defend us. And that's exactly how we look at games. West Ham at home, Palace at home, Brentford at home, Bournemouth at home. You know, these are home games. I'm talking about the home games. I only talked about the away games where we drop points as well, where teams just had a blueprint to play Arsenal. All the teams that try to play football got absolutely ruined. We ruined them, battered them. But the teams that played in a sort of conservative, safety first way, we couldn't break them down.
We had no answers, man.
Yeah. I definitely agree, and I'll go on to say as well is that although Eze can play on the left, I would really want him as an 8/10 on that left hand side. Again, I think if we do decide to keep Martinelli, I think Martinelli has been linked with Al Nassr for 70 odd million. But if we do decide to keep Martinelli, we have that Eze as that 8, that left sided 8/10. Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
Do you lot think he's going to play as an 8 though? Because I do think, that for me, I don't necessarily have an issue with the way Mikel Arteta plays. I agree with Kenny in that I think there's tweaks we need to do, move the ball quicker, have all of those things. But I think last season kind of raised the question that when it's not going to script, we need to try different things. I'm not saying you have to start an Eze in an 8 or do all of the other things you could do, but I do think in games that could happen. But do you lot see Eze realistically playing as an 8? If so, what would that mean for Zubimendi or Rice?
It's just alternate. I think with Eze, he can play in an 8, but he can come on from the left. You know, we do need more than one player to create chances. We can't we relied heavily on one player, Odegaard. And when Odegaard was woefully off form, who was creating the chances? There wasn't anyone who created sparks. So how we got through teams is Declan Rice had to play number 8, and he had to basically create openings by driving forward, you know, kind of Lothar Matthäus style, and then bringing out the space rather than one pass, one bit of creativity. You need more than one creative player. Like Zubimendi, he's going to be the brain of our midfield. He's
going to be a serious signing for us. Yeah. I'll put my neck on the line on that.
Don't get me wrong. He's not. If you want a Thomas Partey kind of player, where basically he he basically can run the whole midfield. He can pass. He can do the DM bit. And if you want, he could play the number 8. You're just going to get someone who basically keeps the possession ticking over. He's a more refined kind of Jorginho. You know, you probably want someone who could do the kind of sort of things that Santi Caffola was doing, where he was the
That'd be a dream.
That's what we need, and then that could free off Odegaard as well, get him to positions, pass the ball to the creative player Odegaard, so Odegaard doesn't have to come back and retrieve the ball, then start the attack, so Odegaard can get closer to Saka, and then we'll take, and then Declan Rice is just free to play football. That's what he's going to give us in Europe as well. Zubimendi, we needed him in Europe because one thing I learned is that our power play got us to a certain level in the Champions League, but when we played teams who could pass the ball like PSG,
we're in trouble.
We struggled without a Zubimendi type player, so he can control the pace of the game, control the ball. Our physicality was redundant against PSG because they matched us, but they had better ball players than us.
And they weren't standing still. I mean, me and Kenny have spoken about that on many a stream. When you got your 6 play, like the furthest man forward and stuff, there was no answers. And I think that's what we need to have in our game. We've got the dual winners, the monsters, and all of that. We need some creativity. Do you lot, like, if you had to put on a scale of 10, like, do you lot think we'll get Eze? I'm gonna go with a 5 because for me it comes down to the money, how you have to sum up the payments, and how willing Arsenal are. I don't know for the budget and all the rhetoric. I don't think 27 is young, but I struggle to imagine that you would sign a 26-year-old Zubimendi, a Gyokeres, for example, for 20. That's 27, and Eze. I'm not saying I don't want it, but we all know how our club operate.
I'll say this. I think I'm quite confused when people say 26, 27, 28 is getting on a little bit. Like, we need a bit
got
of
about
experience.
5-6 years left, if that.
I hear that, but 5 years is a long time. 5 years you can start dominating. You can start dominating. You know, look at Man City. They did it in 10, obviously, but you saw it within 5 years. The last 5 years, Man City have been dominating, right? And I think we have had a decent team, but I think we've lacked that experience to get us over the line. We've lacked winners. We've lacked that type of variety that can come in and be like, you know what, we're going to change the game. We're 1-0 down and we're 1-1. We need someone to come up and change the game. Eze is that guy. But I'll say this as well. With Crystal Palace, we've already actually arranged sort of like a installment plan where we're paying 20 million to match that 68 million. So 20 million per year, 20 million per year. And there might be some add-ons and some clauses. That is perfect. Go get it done. Because if you're paying 20 million per season, that's 20 million now. And then you still got money to bring in a left winger or a striker, depending on what your priority is, then go get it done. He wants to join. We've got Tomiyasu who's just left. Partey is left. And Martinelli might be going as well. We need to start doing things very, very quickly because, again, I'm under the impression that we're going to be going to pre-season. I think it's the 17th, 18th.
Couple of weeks now, yeah.
Couple of weeks. So it's like 2-3 weeks, right? We want them to be situated, ready for pre-season. And especially other teams are sniffing around. Man United, Tottenham are sniffing around. Chelsea sniffing around as well. And these teams, especially Chelsea, they're going to be coming in and be like, you know what? Cool, pay the release clause, pay what we need to pay off as opposed to negotiating. There's certain teams that don't negotiate. We negotiate. Oh, let's try and get a bit of money off. Teams like Chelsea, teams like other teams, they're not going to negotiate. They're going to come in, Eze, yeah, we want you, boom, gone. And that's a player gone.
We're going to aim to pay below his release clause, clearly. Is that wrong?
It's not wrong, but if you're telling me that we can pay 20 million per year, per season, for that 68 million, that's a no-brainer for me.
Kenny, where are you standing on that? Are you muted? Oh,
so
what's that happening, man?
So I was just thinking, you talk about Eze, isn't it? Look, it's one of those things where he's available. He's clearly told Crystal Palace he's not going to go. I think that it's a no-brainer. I think that this is a player who can give us that extra dimension. The money's there. And now we've got an experienced operator in terms of Berta to get those kind of deals through. You know, a lot of Berta so far shown me that he's the king of the open goals. This is an open goal, man.
You're being converted, Kenny, now, man. You was harsh on Berta before.
No. What I said about Berta is that people just think he's going to get big players. He's not there for that. The Tomiyasu thing we're going to get to. it's classic Berta. You know, he, he's got his fingerprints all over this. You know, give him a payoff and say, look, let's move on. You know, there's going to be other players that he's going to get rid of. There's, the Martinelli thing, which we're going to get to later. Regardless of how much you love Martinelli, £75 million for a player that I feel
not
personally
enough.
that has hit his heights.
Ceiling.
It's not going to get any better. Take the money. Bite the hand off. But in terms of this guy, this is a player, England international, someone who we do need in the Champions League, someone that can maybe give us an extra in the league. It's a no-brainer. Get him in without a shadow of doubt, because take the scales off your eyes and don't expect him to be another Martinelli. Just think about what he can give us, in other areas.
Showmanship, dragging opposition defenders out of position.
He's playing a better team as well. He's playing a better team. He doesn't have to be the main man. The pressure won't be on him, as it is on Crystal Palace, where he has to be the main man. If he don't play well,
he's their Saka, basically.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
Basically, yeah. We all know about one player doing the job.
Yeah. Another thing as well. Believe you me, we have to hit the ground running. I don't want to hear anyone talking about, I'll be happy to get a point at Man United. I'll be happy to get a point at Liverpool, which you would be. But that mentality is, next season is about winning the league or the Champions League primarily. I think Mick Arteta is going to go for those two competitions only. I don't see us going, the way it's looking at the moment now on the 4th of July, I don't see Arsenal doing a Man City and Liverpool and trying to go for every competition. Just can't see it. Which means it's important to hit the ground running. Whoever we get next season as a striker, hit the ground running. Sesko, Gyokeres, sorry, mate, you've got no bedding in period. Needs must.
Is that right, though, Kenny?
Yes.
I don't think you're wrong, but is that right on anybody who comes into this team? Matter of fact,
in the context of where Arsenal were, in fact, they didn't challenge for the league. They didn't even touch the sides. They gave Liverpool that title. Liverpool were just too strong, and Arsenal just couldn't get out of the blocks. The Champions League has showed us that we can compete in Europe. That is probably going to be another priority. The fact that we haven't won the Champions League, that's pressure in itself. The fact that we came close to winning the league in 23, and then the year after is in 24, and then we didn't even mount a title defence. The desperation from every Arsenal fan to win the league and the Champions League or win trophies is at such a premium that there's no bedding in period. There's no extenuating circumstances. Regardless whether you're Mikel in or Mikel out, every Arsenal fan is kind of on the same page when it comes to demanding silverware.
I don't think you're lying. Let me ask you this finally on Eze. Yeah? Before we get into more specific stuff, if we were to sign your Gyokeres or Sesko, your Rodrygo and your Eze, is Eze in the strongest 11? Because you're going to have Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard. Is it? And if you got Rodrygo, he's probably on the left, and then you got your Gyokeres or Sesko. Is Eze in the strongest 11? And if not, how can he be a level raiser?
But that's the thing, is that you want players to come into the club and start playing for that starting 11. Right, you want them to start pushing for that starting 11. We don't want the starting 11 to be too comfortable. That's the current situation we've got at the club now. People are too comfortable. They know that they're going to be starting in the starting 11. You want players to be coming in and be like, yo, I'm going to start ruffling some feathers. Because that's when you start giving the manager those problems, like, who do I play? Who do I play? And to go on to that, as much as I really rate Rodrygo, I would prefer an Eze and a Kudus. That's what I'd prefer. Because I'm really under the motion that I would want someone that is Prem proven. I know people keep talking about this Prem proven stuff, but I really want Prem proven stuff, because even if it doesn't really work out in those other, for example, the Champions League, at least we've got that Premier League. At least we've got people that know the Premier League in and out, no bedding in. Just like Kenny said, we need to hit the ground running. The first 6 games are pivotal, absolutely pivotal. We draw, we F about, we muck about, and you're going to start seeing a very, very toxic sort of fan base. Everyone, even the guys that believe that Arteta is the right guy, they're going to start turning on him. So we need those first 6 games to hit the ground running, not to look for a draw, to go out there and be like, listen, we want to win the league. We're trying to win something. And Rodrygo, as much as I love it, he's a great player. As much as people know that he's a great player as well, I think we need to kind of we need to be sure of ourselves and put that Eze there and put the Kudus there. That's what I believe anyway. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, again, great player. But is he going to work? Is he going to be able to handle it in the Prem? These are the questions we need to ask. He will handle it in Europe. Europe is great, but in the Prem,
I think he's got the work rate. I'd give that to Rodrygo, because when I look at, well, I'm not, by no means have I watched or am I watching Real Madrid week in, week out. But one thing Rodrygo's been praised for is his work rate, especially off that right-hand side. That's the one thing he seems to have above Mbappe and Vinicius. So if I use that logic and you're going to come into this team, that is great. I don't agree with the kind of rhetoric that he's an Alexis Sanchez type signing. I see the trail of thought, but I just feel Alexis Sanchez was twice the player he is. But I think it'd be a boost. It'd be great. He'd be given a bit of importance. My thing is this, like, go and get me my Gyokeres or Sesko. We'll get into it, but every day that changes, it's Gyokeres now, Sesko, and there's a lot of shenanigans. But go and get that done. Go and get Eze done. Go and tie up the loose ends with all the other players. And then focus on outgoings. Then if there is a bit of hope to get Rodrygo, we all know this is one that will drag out. This is one that probably won't, his future probably won't even be decided when the season starts. But simultaneously, obviously, it's like Rodrygo's up here, left wing option. You might have to get someone that's there. But while you're trying to go and get Rodrygo, go get a more tangible kind of option. What I don't want to do is chase someone, ultimately be left red-handed. Because I do think, I'd say the PSG game, I don't think, or the 2 legs, I don't think it was terrible. But especially in the second leg, there was a feeling, and I know there was injuries or whatever, but there was a feeling that we're giving it our best. But it's just not in a nice, not even in a nice way. It's just not good enough. It's just the levels. We need better players in certain roles now. We need that stardust. And he's available for 90 odd million. I'd get that done if I was Arsenal.
Yeah. Again, but the thing is that 90 million is a lot of money, and you need to think about it as well. Is that if we do go and sign Rodrygo for 90 million, and some people, for example, like me, we want an Eze, we want maybe potentially 2 strikers, because Gyokeres and Sesko, depending on what side of the fence you sit on, there could be a case that none of them work out, or there could be a case that both of them need some time to bed in, right?
I think that'd be the case.
You know what I mean? Because you've got Sesko, who scored 13 goals that people keep moaning about, and you've got people moaning about Gyokeres playing in the Portuguese league, right? So we need to think of the worst case scenario. Both of them might not be able to settle in. So if we go and get maybe like a 40 million Watkins, who is again Prem proven, to tie that time over, whilst the other striker, that main striker that we brought in, is taking that time to get in, then that's smart business.
Can't disagree. Kenny, what are you saying for that?
I've muted myself. Also, it lends more to us if you do get these players in and you get 2 players for every position. You can go for every competition. You can compete and try every competition, which is what I really, really want. There's a lot of people, I've seen some comments of Rodrygo. My feeling on Rodrygo is
6 goals, 5 assists in La Liga.
It's not even football reasons. I think that when players are unhappy at Real Madrid, they do it for one reason only: to get a better contract. I see it so many times. I saw it with Ramos with Man United a few years back. He didn't discourage links with Man United, but it was all about getting a new contract. Look what Nico Williams is doing at Barcelona, and he went to Arsenal. Look at him. Got a nice.
Now he's staying at Bilbao.
For 10 years,
contract to stay at Bilbao. That's what players do. It's a no-brainer that Rodrygo is probably going to do the same thing. He's looked at the situation where Arsenal fans are at 67s about Martinelli. There's still people, as we speak in the chat, that says that Martinelli's an elite baller. And
Ken, you're a hater of Martinelli, isn't it?
I'm not hating. I have no patience for players, and it's easy for me to have no patience with Martinelli when I've seen his partner on the other flank developing quickly into an automatic choice for club and country.
Yeah, but he never had that stability. The stability on the right ain't on the same as the left, Kenny, man.
You can't make excuses for him. There's stability for doing it. He plays for Arsenal. He's not good enough. He showed last season that he wasn't good enough. When we needed him to step up when Saka was injured, what we got? We got a mouse. An 11th hour. you know, there was some sort of improvement. But when we really needed him to step up, didn't happen. He was already showing traces of his decline in the 23-24 season. Let's not forget, his manager was the one that was coveting Mudryk. Now, let's forget how it ended. Let's just ask yourself a question. Why is Mikel Arteta aggressively going for a left winger when you've already got Martinelli?
Maybe it was depth and a market opportunity. I don't know.
Mikel Arteta, market opportunity. Mikel Arteta is all about now. He's a ruthless football man. He's not a businessman. He's a football man. That he's got very low patience if you're not doing it. Look at lack of patience he's showing towards Wanyeri. Look at what he did to Aaron Ramsdale. If you don't cut it, after a while he goes elsewhere.
Yeah. He's had that opportunity. You need to remember 3 seasons back where we actually bottled the league to Man City. Do you remember that electric season he had? He had like 15 goals. And
probably a purple patch in hindsight now, if I'm honest. Love Nelly though, man.
The thing is that
still a big game player.
Yeah. What Nelly gives you is that work rate that we love, right? He comes back and he tracks back. But what good players do, and this is why I have to agree with Kenny, what good players do is that they progress. They might have a purple patch for maybe a season or 6 months, but then the season after that, they get back to grinding, they get back to work, and you can see, okay, cool, this guy wants it. But maybe it's a case where, one, he doesn't fit our system of play, and maybe if he goes elsewhere, he'll be better situated to another team that will give him that type of style. Or 2, he's reached that ceiling in the Prem anyway, and you can't go past that.
What's the lowest fee you lot would accept for Martinelli? Because you lot might be open to offers. For me, he's staying.
60 million.
60, yeah.
60 million, let's talk. We've had 75 million. I'm surprised the club ain't biting his hand off. They're biting the Saudi club's hand off. This is really, the thing is, right, Arsenal fans will never accept the business way of doing things. If you want to get all these players that you feel we need on big money and on big salaries, you can't have an inflated squad. You have to make sacrifices. You know, you can go the Cowell's way out and say, all right, we got rid of Tommy Asu's wages and we sold fringe players like we did last season. That clearly isn't enough. That clearly wasn't enough. We have to balance the book somehow. We have to get someone out. And if you've got a player who I think has hit the ceiling when it comes to his potential, I will take the money. For a start, get his wages off the books.
He is on big wages. I hear that.
PSR's not just about like how much money you have or how much you're allowed to spend. They look at the salaries as well. We've got a situation where you've got some players on some deep salaries who are just not first team players or not.
Who are these players?
Well, I think that Trossard and Martinelli are not going to be the players who can win you the league. I generally believe that.
Can I ask you something, Kenny, though? Is that last season we've had those injuries, right? A major season with injuries.
Yeah.
And one of the things that most Arsenal fans, including myself, were saying, squad depth.
Yeah, I understand it, but the thing with when you've got a manager like Mikel Arteta, squad depth is like it's a luxury word because he is married to his system. Not only is he married to his system, he seems to feel that only certain personnel can play that system. So you can have a big squad, but you know the first 11 verbatim. And that's people talk about is the injury situation. Was the injuries down to squad depth because we didn't have the players, or was the injuries down to the fact that Mikel Arteta overplayed certain players because they had to play that system? You know, Saka and Havertz. There are certain games in the Carabao Cup where they're coming on. The games were won.
One thing I recall is when we beat PSV, I think it was like 7-1 or something. Was it 7-1? Yeah. And then the next game he plays exactly the same team, the strongest team, and you're thinking this would be great for you to rotate. One thing I will say as well is that he no longer trusted his bench Hence the reason why he never
Yeah,
wanted to use
that
it.
show with that.
Do you know what I mean? He stopped trusting his bench. So he was like, I'd rather stick with these 11. So I think right now, or this is a question to you, my bro. Do you think if, for example, we keep a Martinelli or we sell a Trossard and vice versa, do you think that improves his, in terms of his mentality and thinking, I'm going to use the people on the bench more?
I think what's happened is that I have to admit, I don't think he'll want that because he'll still want the numbers. However, here we put to him by Berta that, come on, we've got to get these books balanced. We've got to get these high wages on. If you really want me to help you get these players in that you feel that can kick us on, we've got to make sacrifices. And that's the thing in football, it's the balancing act. Managers, I'm not keen on getting the balance right. And fans, of course, you don't want to lose your star players. You don't want to, you feel you don't want to make anything stronger. But it's where we are now with PSR and FFP. We asked for PSR and FFP. We were a club that complained about other clubs doping. Whenever you go to matches, when we played Chelsea,
115 charges or whatever it is City got.
Yeah, which is right. So we can't, as I said, ask for PSR, but complain when it's with us. PSR is killing Arsenal, clearly killing Arsenal, and Arsenal just have to work within that. There's loads of players in that squad who won't even get games anyway. However, they're not valuable. Martinelli's an asset. Trossard could be an asset, but Martinelli's an asset where you've got Brazil international. He started games for Brazil. For Arsenal, he's been woefully inconsistent.
So there's potential there, Kenny.
Yeah, potential, but that's the thing. You're talking about, he's not 16.
He's 24.
24. You don't talk about players of 24 as potential. In footballing terms, that's middle-aged.
He could be a late bloomer, though. Everyone's journey is different.
What do you mean late bloomer?
You could be a late bloomer. There's players that peaked later.
Because you like the player, you're making excuses.
There has been times.
I like anyone who plays for Arsenal. I like Martinelli.
Don't try that old school. Don't try that old school fan type. Oh yes, I support.
I'm asking a question, Ken.
And he wears red shirt. I've heard all that before. Come on, mate, do better.
You got an agenda, as they would say.
You're a Martinelli fan, so in order to keep him at the football club, rather than you may have started off thinking he's going to be elite. He isn't reaching the heights of Saka, but you don't want to lose him because you want to keep him in the squad because you feel that there's something in there, and that another club will unlock that talent, and that
100% I believe that. And part of me, I think Kenny needs to go.
He's at the best stage. He's at the best stage possible for the last few years, and in the last 2 years, he hasn't delivered.
Yeah, but he's not had consistent left.
You have a serious injury
like Saka.
You didn't have a serious injury. He didn't deliver.
Yeah, but he's carrying a knock himself.
There's no Saka overshadowing him. He was the main man.
But how has he not delivered in the last 2 years? He has scored against City, assisted against City, scored against Real Madrid, bagged against Liverpool, done it against Chelsea. He's a big game player.
Use the eye test. You watch every Arsenal game. You watch every Arsenal game. You've seen these performances. I'm not saying.
Well, who else has the qualities he has, Kenny? Who's got that blistering pace?
I'm the Old Testament Bible, but you've seen it. Loads of other fans commented about his decline. I'm not the only one.
But Jurgen Klopp described him as the talent of the century. Who am I as a fan not listening to someone like Jurgen Klopp?
Is it very easy to heckle from the touchlines or admire from afar? When you're in the engine room and you're seeing a player who's not performing on a consistent basis, you can't wait for him to come good. This season, I repeat, is a season where we have to win something big.
Do you know what? Why don't we play Martinelli right back and have him overlap?
Some are saying that. I mean, why don't we play Martinelli through the middle? He's not Arteta.
All jokes aside, we need to remember as well is that Martinelli, he's originally a striker. When he first started off, when he was playing in Brazil, he was originally a striker. When he first started coming into Arsenal, originally a striker, and then obviously Arteta moved him to the left. I'm with Kenny. I do like Martinelli. I do love his work rate. I love the fact that he plays for the badge, but he's had 3-4 seasons for you to show us. Are you about that life? Are you really about that life?
Okay, let me ask you a lot of question. Yeah, what's one of the hardest things to defend against as a defender, specifically a fullback?
Pace.
Who's got that?
Aaron Lennon had pace, but
No. Who in our squad's got that, bro?
no, but again, I hear that,
Bro. Who has got that?
But
It's him, innit?
Bro.
He's literally got unique qualities no one else can offer us.
Cool, but at the same time, pace. What is pace without technique? What is pace without composure? What is pace without?
No, I agree with that.
Nothing. You
But look what he did today. Would you lot agree that Trent Alexander-Arnold is one? It might not be in you lot's strongest 11 where the Premier League all-time greats are, but he'd be in some, or he'd be in consideration, right? Look what he's done to him time and time again.
It's Real Madrid something different in terms of.
I don't know. I just know he's a right back and Martinelli's a left winger. I don't know about all that stuff.
Sometimes when you play in a certain position, the reason why clubs want to keep hold of you is because you're giving something different. You can create match-winning situations. Trent's technique in terms of like passing, crossing, set pieces puts him ahead of right backs. Yeah, he doesn't do the basics defensively, and he's always out of position. But Real Madrid are a team that expect to win the Champions League every season. They expect to win the league, La Liga. They're always going to be in the attack. Of course, he gets Trent. It's a no-brainer. Because of the way you play, you're an attacking player. It's no.
In my opinion, Martinelli had goal and assist of the season last year. The assist against City for Calafiori and the finish against Chelsea. I've never seen that before.
You always remember the cameos rather than the main performance.
No, that's about how you decide. Well, let's not act like Rice was amazing for all the whole season, or Saka's amazing over 90 minutes.
No, they weren't. Again, Rice wasn't amazing, but he showed up multiple times, right? And
so did Nelly. He silenced. He had the fans walking out of the Bernabeu, the biggest team in Europe.
No. The game was already done by then.
Some Arsenal fans this is something I've heard. Like a lot of Arsenal fans, and Stuart has said it here. I don't think Rodrygo is better than Nelly, and I think Kenny said it. They alternate for Brazil, so there's got to be something there. No.
Yeah, of course. Like, listen, we're not trying to say Martinelli is a bad player, are we? Because we're also saying that if he goes somewhere else, he could potentially bad it up. But what we're trying to say is that, for example, when you look at development, we look at the trajectory of development. He started off at go back to was it 21-22 where we fumbled the league? 21-22, right? So 21-22, he was up there. And then he just stayed there, and we can see that he's starting to go down. The trajectory of the development starting to go down. So again, business-minded, you have to start looking at potentially moving him on, because how many times we're going to keep saying, oh, maybe, this season or next season, he'll end up being 28. Nobody wants him. And
but we cry about depth, and then we're going to sell Martinelli and bring in one. Like, it's not really depth, is there? Surely Martinelli could be a squad player.
It's basically not selling him for the sake of selling him. You're selling him because the fact is that you can, a few years ago when we wasn't a situation with PSR, of course you keep a player like that. But we're in a different situation where it's the money. It's the money situation where we can't. Everyone's talking about this war chest. Oh, we want £300 million for players. With PSR, your starting point is probably £100 million. That's not enough to get top players in. That probably is enough to get one top player in, but to get about the players we need more money than that. So you have to generate your own kind of money. You have to make decisions. And every couple of seasons, you've got to have to make a tough decision because at the end of the day, they are commodities, these players. There's some players that in football, you have players who you're never going to sell. They're the crown jewels. I.e., like events where Wimbledon can never go to satellite TV. It's got to be in the BBC, the crown jewels. Saka, the crown jewel. Right? But there's other players you think, yeah, maybe, man. If you just have a little nibble, maybe we can talk. Martinelli's that sort of player where you have a little nibble. And there's just some players you say, sell, get rid.
Can I ask you guys something? Would you sell Trossard first or Martinelli first?
Trossard. Neither. If it was up to me, neither. But I do think we have to say
if we're getting a winger in,
Trossard.
Okay.
Oh, Trossard's been agitating for a move for a while anyway. Players anyway. Off you go, mate. You've done your bit for us. Thanks for the. If you want to enrich yourself and go to Arabia, you go with my blessing.
Got new agents as well.
Okay.
Come on, mate. Yeah, respect to him, but a day, he's going to get paid more. Off you go. But he's not. He's hardly going to touch the sides. You're talking about a value. You look at his age, Martinelli. Look at the fact. Look at the clubs that will be in for him. Big clubs potentially can be in for him. And then you've got a club in Saudis who's offering the 2 moons. They're offering us 2 moons.
Provided he wants to go there, though, because we can accept him. Martinelli says, fuck that, and we're not going anywhere. Kenny, there's a question for you on screen. Kenny, so you're saying Sesko is 23 with potential, but Martinelli at 24 has no potential. Maybe it's maybe it's Arteta who asks him to defend too much, possibly taking away from him going forward.
Oh, you know what? You've got some good points there. Martinelli, the thing with the Martinelli sort of potential, sometimes at certain clubs, you reach your ceiling. You know, you're right when you mention Mick Arteta being part of the problem. Without a shadow, that is part of the problem. You look at Martinelli when he's playing his best football. He plays his best football when he's playing off the cuff, instinctively.
Yeah.
That's what attracted you, DG, to Martinelli. The instinctiveness of it. When he used to get the ball on the left-hand side and he used to hit the box, and defenders can't touch him because I'll give away a penalty, and he goes in and he's either going to have a shot at goal or he'll create an assist. That Martinelli is gone at Arsenal. We probably might see it in another club, but under this system under Mick Arteta, it's not happening. Look, he had ample opportunities to do that last season, and right backs were working him out and having an easy game against him. Before,
ain't that down to the manager then?
Could be down to the fact that, you know, his instinctiveness. Could be a situation where defenders work him out. I said, all right, don't let him go in the box. Get him inside. He doesn't like to go inside. He likes to get round the back. Or you'll get some players like Konate who when we play Liverpool, what does Konate do when we play at Liverpool? He basically helps his right back, and he says, right,
just outstrumps Martinelli more time.
Let's see who's faster and who's stronger. And 9 out of 10 times, he keeps Martinelli quiet, and that's what teams are doing against him. So when you've got a player who's instinctive and you feel he hasn't got that sort of like other aspects to his game, where he's a very direct player, I do think that, you know, that's part of the problem. But obviously the Mick Arteta thing is up and down. And then, you know, Ruud Gullit's always had this kind of viewpoint that if you're a striker, he doesn't want you running back or tracking back. He wants you to do your running where you can hurt the opposition.
It's true, but the game's changed now, man.
But yeah, the game's changed. It's a game changed. But the problem is that Martinelli is a casualty of the way teams, you know, this Pep kind of playing. I always say that Pep Guardiola is a football killer. He's a football terrorist because everyone seems to play like him. Everyone has to win the ball back in 10 seconds.
Well, that's everyone's fault for copying him, though.
Everyone's copying him. So basically, what you do is you kill players with instinctive mindsets in football. You kill flair and panache. It's just robots. The football's good. It's not long ball, you know, but it's a case where you're taking away the instinctiveness. You're taking away people's kind of mindsets. It's just like system. You kill players like Martinelli. He's no longer effective in the way he was for us. That is the manager's fault, but that's him not being able to add another aspect to his Arsenal.
But that's what I was going to say as well, because if you look at the progression of Saka on the other side, he's doing exactly the same thing. But you could see this year's Saka before he got injured, even when he come back, it's a different type of Saka. Because now you got a Saka that's going on the outside and on the inside, so defenders don't know how to defend him, even if you've got 2-3 men around him. The thing about Martinelli, he hasn't adapted. That's my problem. He hasn't adapted. Of course, he's had, you know, that first season, 22-23, had a great season. But I want you to change your game, because the thing about Rodrygo, as much as I just said before that, you know, I'm quite dubious about him, the only thing I can give him is that he plays for Real Madrid side where they're playing against teams that have that low block. So he's going to come up against low blocks. He's already come up against low blocks. Martinelli hasn't adapted to the low block. Because teams now, you know what Martinelli suits? Martinelli suits when a team's wide open. When a team's attacking you, the other opposition has a high line, and you know there's space for him to run into. I want to see your football IQ. Okay, what are you going to change in order for you to adapt to the low block? right? And Martinelli hasn't done it. Saka has. That's the difference now. This is the fine margin that we're talking about. This is the fine margin. So if you can't adapt, my friend, you have to sit on the bench, or potentially you have to start looking elsewhere.
Fair play. Let me ask you like this. I'll read it out if anyone hasn't heard it. BBC Sport understands Arsenal will look to sell one of their more established first team players inside the next 12 months. Gabriel Martinelli has been extensively linked with a move away this summer. It's understood that isn't something the club are ruling out. They're understood to be several clubs in Germany keeping on Kai Havertz's situation heading into next summer when he'll have 2 years left on his deal. Now, I know people don't really fancy Kai, but on the basis of 2 years and we might get a striker and upgrades with Eze and whatnot, Kai will probably be in problems. We've been speaking about Martinelli. What do you lot make of, I guess, because you know what, Kenny's actually said this quite a few times. There might have to be some unpopular sales or decisions. But what do you lot make of that?
For Kai Havertz?
For the whole statement, like whether it's Kai, Martinelli, or in general around selling key players, because you can't, it says more established first team players. That could be Saliba, probably owing to his contract. That could be anyone. Technically, that could be Trossard. That could be anyone.
So, sometimes you have to make sacrifices. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices. Like, listen, we're not going to be the only club that is going to sell their best players. Clubs have been doing that for a long time. Man City has done it, right? We have to be that club that is, okay, cool. We had good players, but we're trying to get better players. And the only way you can make space for better players is if you sell your good players. So, for example, like Havertz. Personally, I think Havertz should be playing a 10, but it seems like Arteta's not going to play him in a 10. He's not going to play him in a 10. The reason why Havertz literally lit up the world at Bayern Leverkusen because he was playing that shadow striker role as a number 10. The thing about Havertz, he makes these shadow runs that people don't pick up, and you think, oh my days, where's Havertz? Oh, he's over there in a dangerous position. But he shouldn't be the focal point getting all the balls and every ball going into. So if we have to sell Martinelli or a Havertz, or not a Saliba, God forbid, but again, a Havertz or a Martinelli, then it has to be done in order for you to make space. Because look, he's sitting on 285 a week.
Peace. Highest earner, technically, or one of them.
285 a week. 285 a week, and we still don't know what position we're going to play him in. People are saying he's better as a 9. People are saying he's an 8. I saw a couple of comments. He's an 8. He's a 10. He's a this. He's a that. We still don't know what position he plays in or what position he suits.
But Arsenal should just be a striker. I'm not really trying to see him midfield unless we have to grind games out or those kind of scenarios.
Personally, if he's not playing as a 10, sell him.
I hear that.
I think the thing with Kai Havertz is that, Uncle Clive, Mick Arteta are the same volition. They see this guy as tactically important. That they can play him in a variety of positions. And if we go into games with certain different approaches, Havertz is his man. And that's probably what keeps him at the football club and keeps him at the club. I personally feel, in terms of what Arsenal moving forward, I think he's tactically disruptive in the extent that it seems that they have to find a position for him at the expense of other players. But what's kept him in the team is other players have fallen off. We haven't got the quality we would like on the left-hand side. We certainly haven't got the consistency of performances in the middle from Odegaard. And our buying policy is such that we're not getting the kind of players to move us on. So you kind of keep Kai Havertz in the team, sometimes by default. But the thing with Kai Havertz is that the more I see of him, when I look at his age and I see how he played in Germany, he's a business. I always look at it as a business signing, just because he seems to go for a lot of money. Chelsea pays 74 million for him. We pay 65 million for him. At the age, how old is he? 23, 24?
26.
26, yeah? And he's already fetched about nearly 140 million pounds. I do think that
26.
If we can get the right money for him, and if we can get the right players, we can tactically move it forward. Yeah, I'll take the money for Kai. I'll definitely take the money for Kai because regardless of what I think of him, regardless of what the chat think of him, big clubs will come in for him because there are managers out there who rate this guy, including Mick Arteta. He's rated by the German national side, and there'll be other clubs in Germany in for that guy, big clubs, and even other clubs in Europe. We'll get a good fee for him. I know I sound like ruthless, but I'm going to have to say it, and don't take this the wrong way. I'm going to say two things. that show me how ruthless I am. They haven't brought me success. These certain players, they're all up for grabs because they haven't brought me success. I'm not missing anything. I need success. If they're not winners, they're good players, but to be great players, unsellables, they have to bring me something to the table with some trophies. Then the second
So no one's unsellable in the Arsenal team, Kenny, as it stands.
Look, football, everyone's for sale. Football managers are for sale. You know what I mean? Everyone's for sale. You know the score. But Saka, for me, is one player in that team I could say without even thinking, under no circumstances should that guy be sold, because
Lewis Kelly, Wanyeri.
Yeah, I'd have to add a couple more. I'd have to add a couple more.
You say that, but if you didn't have your thinking cap on, but one name came up, it's got to be Saka. Saka's unsellable.
Yeah.
But another thing about Martinelli, and this is even going to be worse. I'm going to go in on him, but I'm not going to go in him because I don't like him. I'm going to go in because I'm worried about Brazilian football. Everyone talks about how Martinelli's alternates Rodrygo for Brazil. I think that the fact that Martinelli gets games for Brazil, and the fact that Richarlison gets games for Brazil, the fact that Jesus gets games for Brazil, is an indictment of Brazilian football, because none of those players would have got into the teams that won the World Cup in '94. They certainly would not get in the teams of 2002. The way we talk about these Brazilian players.
Oh, come on, Kenny, man.
There's
players that wouldn't get into the Invincible team that we love right now.
I deal with Rivaldo, Ronaldinho. You see how
they're legends.
Yeah,
Zico.
but
none of these guys are Zico.
Do you think they'll get into that Brazilian team in 2002, DG? Of course not.
None of them will.
Of course not. But what kind of way is that about to go about things? Because there's bare people I rate in this Arsenal team that I wouldn't sell, that are not playing for the Invincibles. I'm sure if Chelsea fans, there's a couple of great Chelsea players that wouldn't play for them Jose Mourinho sides. If we go down that route, it's super.
Again, he's basically saying that the standard of the Brazilian national team has decreased.
Yeah, it's falling off. There's the Jogo Benito is dead in Brazil. That's why these guys are not ballers. But Martinelli's bringing it back. Ronaldinho, since you're mentioning 02, Ronaldinho rates Martinelli. Said he reminds him of R9. I can't argue with Jurgen Klopp. I can't argue with Ronaldinho.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
He did say that.
No. He said at the rate he runs with the ball.
I don't know.
Right? The speed that he runs with the ball, and it was Rivaldo that said the speed that he runs with the ball reminds him of R9. Doesn't mean it's R9.
I don't make the rules. I just provide receipts. I don't argue. He's been compared to him by Ronaldinho. I mean, by Ronaldinho to R9. I can't.
Which team is Ronaldinho coaching? Who's he coaching?
That don't matter. Ronaldinho don't want to do coaching. He don't want to do the coaching thing. He doesn't want to coach. Why? What? Because if we can't take Ronaldinho's opinion, then we might as well end football. That's a man that's won the Champions League.
The thing is what he does for Arsenal. Is what he's doing for Arsenal. Is he delivering Saka-type performances at Arsenal?
And when was
that quote, by the way? When was that quote? When did Ronaldinho say
that? That don't matter, man. That don't matter.
No. DG. When did he say that? Bring it back. Spin the block.
I think 2025. I think he said 2025. I think
5 years ago. Hey,
5 years is nothing, man.
Bro, no. We've just said 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Listen, 5 years ago, we were all under the impression that Martinelli is going to be a world beater, right? We were all under the impression that Martinelli is going to be a world beater. Now, come on, ask Ronaldo.
Okay, but we thought we was going to win the title in the last 3 years. Things change, man. Things happen, man.
Yeah, things change.
It's never a straightforward.
That guy.
It's never straightforward, man. It's never straightforward.
You know it is. What? If Martinelli ever gets sold and he does it for another club, I don't think I'm going to have to avoid you, because I think you'll.
You definitely are.
I think you'll blame me for.
No, Kenny's to blame
and then progressing elsewhere. I'm going
to better pray Martinelli doesn't succeed next season. If he gets double figures, it's curtains, man. It's curtains.
I want him to get double figures.
No, you don't. You don't believe
No, listen, bro. Listen, I want him to get double figures, but right now we're looking at the Premier League. The first 6 games, very difficult. How long are we going to keep singing that same tune, my friend?
There's got to be a reason that Mikel Arteta has transformed us from 2020 to now, where we're winning 3 title challenges, quote unquote, by finishing second. And whatever we have to say about Martinelli, he's played a lot. If they really wanted to play, they would have brought him in. Because there's been money for Kai Havertz. They would have. I think that says everything about Martinelli.
I hear that, but we've needed a striker. We ain't got a striker.
We got to take that with Martinelli. Like, this is, I mean, with Arteta, this is a striker.
Uh,
He'd be a much better player under Arsene Wenger.
Yeah,
I know that one.
This Martinelli you're talking about, let's not forget, there were times last season where Mick Arteta was preferring Trossard to him. There were times towards the end of 23,
Probably why he fell off.
When he was preferring, you know what I mean? So when you talk about this Martinelli being this potentially elite player, the most important person, well, the second most important person at the football club is the manager. The players are the most important. Isn't sure of him. So it's not a case of me hating on him. The person who's more important than me also clearly has misgivings. Let's not forget, he tried to sign Mudryk for about between 80 and 90 million. And there's no way if he got.
How do we know he weren't going to play right wing?
There's no way to be on the bench. Well, never been on the bench. It's the manager who's has misgivings about him, not me. I'm one of the, not just me. The manager isn't sure whose best left back is, left winger is. That shouldn't be a case. If Martinelli's elite, that should be his position morning, night, and day.
He's versatile, man. Can play across the front three. We need him, Rodrygo, as they're central to our plans.
You know, the only thing that's versatile is is how you move the goalposts. You're showing versatility in your arguments regarding Martinelli. You don't show any versatility about any other player but Martinelli.
How? I'm fair to all of these players.
We've been podding since April, and every time I've mentioned Martinelli, it's you always push back. You always say the same things. You expanded why you want him to stay. It's all you don't agree on many things. We had a battle about Declan Rice being a number 8 and number 6. We don't have that battle anymore. But with Martinelli, you've dug your heels in. Whenever I make suggestions about him, you dig your heels in all the time.
But I've agreed. If every player's got a price, 70 million, 60 million, we've got a price. I'm just not allowed to think Martinelli has some unique qualities.
Except for Martinelli.
No, at 70 million, we'll do that, innit? But I don't know why I can't. It's fair to say nobody currently, because as much as we've been talking about Rodrygo and Eze and this one and that one, right now we've only got what's at the club. It's fair to say Martinelli has unique qualities that some of his attacking teammates don't. He's got pace. He is a big game player. If we was to go on YouTube right now and see the games he's turned up in, he's been on the big games. Is he perfect? No man or woman's perfect.
Hold on, DG. You said he's got skill sets, plural. You said plural. Yeah, skill
yeah,
sets. Other
skill set.
Have. Okay, apart from pace, what does he have?
Movement. Mentality. He's got unique. Now, Martinelli's got movement. He creates chaos. Skills and that. Let's not act like you don't bust skills. Let's not act like you don't bust skills. Let's not act like you haven't seen him nutmeg man and control it on his back against Romero. Martinelli's a good player, man. Like I don't know why you don't hate Martinelli. Martinelli gets him. He's one of us.
We don't hate him. But you, my friend DG, you, my friend, are giving him skill sets that are due to the imagination. I'm not gonna lie.
Like you not see Martinelli. I see Alexis Sanchez and Luis Suarez traits. If we just merge them into one, there's a player there. If he was under Wenger, it'd be quality.
Yeah, Wenger's not here no more.
What did you say? DG? So I could clip that again, bro.
He has traits that mimic Luis Suarez and Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, but they did it consistently. They did it consistently, and that's why they stayed at the top of their game at the clubs that they were. Martinelli, unfortunately, football's a very.
Where was Suarez at 24 though?
Yeah, football's a dog thing. The fact is that. We have to get better players in if we want to win the league next season. We can't carry players. We can't have passengers. We can't wait for Martinelli to come good. We can't do that of football. We just can't.
So, guys, it's all Martinelli's fault.
If there's something more productive than Martinelli out there, and we feel that he can give us goals, he can give us consistency, we have to go for it.
You heard it here, folks. Martinelli's getting double figures next season. Trust me. He is.
We better make sure that we go. We try in the FA Cup and we try in the league, because you ain't going to get double figures in the league. I'll tell you that for now.
If he does, what are you going to say, Kenny? What are you going to say?
Well, I'll tell you, I congratulate him. We win something. If I do, I said I do. Roy Keane said he's doing his job.
I mean, this is the man that said Saka's not world class. So I don't know if you lot in the chat want to believe Kenny. Fair play.
No. I said Saka's not world class yet. That he's going to be world class, but he's not there yet. But he's going to get there.
You don't believe Saka's world class?
He's going to get there. He's going to get there.
Because he has to win trophies to be world class.
No, it's not giving a trophy. He's going to get there. There's just something. He's just got that another few percent, and he's going to get there. He's without a show of that.
He's there.
If anyone's going to be world class, and everyone's going to be a world beater,
he's there,
I just hope it's at Arsenal. I hope it's at Arsenal.
He's definitely world class. He's done it for England.
Him, Saliba, Rice, world class.
So sometimes
Gabriel's not world class, mate.
Who?
Rice can get there. Rice could get there. But he ain't world class. He's a very,
Look what he did against Declan Rice, one of the best sixes in the world, probably top 5 in his position. Even though he don't play there,
he's not a number 6. He's not a good number 6.
Come on, Kenny. He's a number 6, man. He's playing as an 8.
He's played his best football with number 8.
All right, so all right, cool. He played his best football with number 8. He's won a European trophy as a captain as a 6. He's got the 2 European finals as a
6. And all right, when he played number 6 against world-class opposition in the Euros, he struggled in the final against Spain.
Everyone did. He's playing Spain.
No, but this is the zenith of football. You got to prove against better opposition to be a top-class number 6. Those are the games where you show your quality.
Because you're speaking of finals, there's a certain legend that didn't turn up in finals for our football club. I love him. I ain't gonna say his name. So.
You want to break one of the 10 commandments, which is criticize.
I didn't say his name. I didn't even know it was him.
I see you.
There's plenty of footballers. I didn't know it was Henry.
No, you broke one of the 10 commandments, Arsenal commandments back. Our best ever player, but you broke one of the worst commandments.
I didn't say any names.
You'd make Thierry Henry. You did, didn't you?
I don't know. I didn't say names. I don't know. I've seen many a player play for Arsenal that's not turned up in final.
You could talk about Van Boom.
Of course he did.
Come on, everyone knows you would do that, isn't it?
I don't know. Like, does he turn up in the final? I don't know. I've seen Rob Holding turn up in the final for Arsenal. I don't know.
Next thing you're going to say that D.A. Drogba was a better player than Henry because he turned up in finals for Chelsea.
No, he's not. But shout out to anyone who's turned up in the final when your team needs you, rather than run off to the team that beat you in the final in the next year. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know.
DJ, you got that rebellious spirit today, innit? You got that rebellious spirit today. I can see that.
Henry, I love you, but boy, I never said your name. I never said your name. Martinelli's doing it around guys like William. Henry had Perez and Bergkamp and Vieira and this one and that one. Wait, it can't have been that good. Kenny was telling me when Henry joined us, him and DJB were telling me Henry used to get slated. Crazy.
He was. But what do you do?
You did 9 months.
What do you do unlike Martinelli? Turn himself into a world-class footballer for France and his country. What's Martinelli doing? Still going to be... I tell you,
Martinelli 9 months, by the way.
Giroud's got more goals for France than
Henry needed 7 to 9 months. 7 to 9 months to become good.
You know
have
what?
Have you seen Giroud score in the European final?
DG, Martinelli be 28 and you'll still be talking about his potential.
Yeah, because I'm here to the end. To the end. I've got loyalty to the end. It's not that I don't agree with you. Like, I like Martinelli.
See that loyalty has cost us. That loyalty has cost us many and many a times.
Is Yamal world class, Kenny?
You know what? There's certain players that come out.
Oh, here we go.
There's certain generation of players where you think, you know what? At his age, is he affecting the game? Is he a leader of his team in terms of like a match winner? And my footballing instincts are getting challenged when I watch this guy play. I have to be honest with you and be true to my footballing myself. I've tried to think, right, he's not ready yet. But the more I see him for Barcelona, the more I see him for Spain, he challenges my footballing beliefs in terms of like, and I have to say, yes. I have to say, and sometimes you do get a player where age just becomes a number, and he falls in that category where age is just a number.
I think Yamal's world class, but if Yamal gets that with a smaller body of work, then by your logic, Kenny, Saka's got to be world class.
No, but it's different though. Sometimes you have to use the eye test. Sometimes when people talk about world class players, they become mathematicians and start talking about the stats and everything. But sometimes you have to use the eye test. The eye test is the most reliable. Stats give you just back up an argument. your argument, if you believe a player's not good enough or a player's good enough, the eye test is still the best thing ever. It's not. I'm not talking about watching it live. You can watch it on TV. But when you do the eye test with your mouth, you try to find
Yamal's the best player in the world. I've been saying that, but by that logic, with the eyes,
when I look at Saka, of course Saka's going to be world class. I love
Real
this player.
Madrid, World Cups, Euros. The list is on. Every big game he's played.
Hey, I look at Saka and I think, you know what? I just like it's going to happen soon. Give me a year. No, give me 6 months. Give me 6 months.
Fair enough. Oh no, Yamal's the best ever. But Saka's got a body. My thing is, I think Yamal's world class. I think Saka's got a body of work as well. Like it's as simple as that. What do you lot make of the Tomiyasu thing as well? We touched on it lightly, but what have you lot made on it? I think it's harsh.
Harsh for what?
Well, the man's out for 5 months. Like we're Arsenal Football Club. We're meant to be gentlemen. Like we just cancel his deal.
I forgot what he looks like. I'm not even joking. I forgot what he looks like. Like I knew, roughly, but I forgot what man looks like. He and remember, guys, he got injured again. It's a fresh injury. A fresh injury.
He was rushed back, man. We're gonna miss him.
I think the fact is that the reason why you get drawn to players like Tomiyasu is because when he plays for us, he gives us his all. He gives everything for the club, for the bag. But you know what? I'm gonna call Berta, Mr. Open Goal Berta. This is an open goal, mate. To get him off the books. It's ruthless, but it's an open goal. At the end of last season, there was a lot. This season just gone. There was a lot of Arsenal fans who were calling for him to be removed from the team on the basis that he was an expensive commodity and a needed expensive commodity. So I don't think there's not much sentiment there, is there? There's thanks for his efforts, but everyone seems to be thinking, let's get him out of here. Let's just get rid of his wages.
Enough now.
It's a shame, but that's what football fans are just as ruthless as managers and as sporting directors.
Football fans are worse. Football fans are worse.
Yeah, because at least sporting directors got some level of logic. Fans are just emotional.
Look at people talking about Odegaard.
Yeah, you're right.
Chambers, what give you?
No, I think with Odegaard is that some of the criticism towards Odegaard is justified. He hasn't turned up this season, but I suppose some of the criticism is maybe they think that they've always had this feeling that either he's come to his ceiling or they may be better out there than him. But next season is a big season for Martin Odegaard. He'll
be back.
I
believe he'll be back. Like in terms of again, Kenny, you just mentioned it. Eye test and stats test as well, right? He did it both before last season. And you need to remember as well, guys, that ankle injury that he sustained, he came back 2 months earlier than he was supposed to.
Yeah, because it was a necessity from the manager because we weren't breaking teams down by that time.
Exactly. So how important is he?
Yeah. Well, he's very important in that respect. But
it goes back to what Kenny's saying. You're relying on one guy.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I won't say one thing though. When he did come back, it was like a damn squib. It was a damn squib. He didn't want to do it. Yeah. He didn't want next to season, an injury-free Odegaard. We have to have a look at it. Maybe because I know Martin Odegaard was playing his best football when his mate Thomas Partey was with him because Thomas Partey did the dirty work, the pressing and everything, and he got close to Saka. Martin Odegaard always plays his best football when he doesn't drop deep to get the ball back.
But saying that though, Kenny, is that so many times, even when Partey was playing, so many times I would see Odegaard leading the press as well as him being back, trying to build up his ball. He's doing too many things. Even last season, the thing that like if he's not having a good game in terms of creating chances, you look for the other aspects of his game, being the first press. And physically, last season, he wasn't able to do that consistently. No, he couldn't.
And that's where it's kind of where it is. Sometimes you want to sort of like put a plaster over the criticism because he wasn't even doing those basics. The plaster kept on coming off when it came to the well of criticism towards your performances.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. But again, that ankle injury, That ankle injury, especially you're supposed to be off for 5 months. You can tell he stopped shooting. He stopped playing those.
It was everyone could see, even as harsh as cricket, you're not fully fit.
Yeah.
That's where the criticism came into it. That's where the criticisms came into it. But you know, the one thing about it is that Winning Ways asked a question about. I think he asked it with 2 questions. But the most recent questions regarding the Ben White situation. Ben White, at the moment, I do think that Timber's ahead of him because I think defensively he's better. I think that the more he plays, he'll be able to, have the sort of Ben White's attributes in terms of an attacking point of view. But Ben White, he's a good player to have in the squad without a shadow of doubt. No one's offering £100 million for him, but for £100 million for him, we can talk about it.
Why has Ben White's name been wrongly put into?
No, it's because I was on a podcast and I said on one podcast, I think DG was on the show with me where I talked about players that we can get money for, and I thought, right, how about getting money for Ben White?
Nah,
man, we got to keep him, man. For now,
we had that conversation. I wanted the money in order to get the how I say it, the top class players I think we need in order to push on for the title and push on for it, the Premier League.
Ben White needs to be here, man. These are the foundation guys. We can't just keep rubbing
he's a fantastic player, but surely you guys would accept that he is behind Timber at the moment.
That's fine. Yeah, that's great. I absolutely agree with you, Kenny.
2 good fullbacks with unique qualities. I love them both.
But Timber is great.
Yeah, he is. Timber's got a bit more about him for me.
Absolutely great. But Ben White, before Timber came, especially when Timber came and he got injured, Mr. Reliable.
That's the thing.
Reliable.
I've got time for Ben White, man.
The thing with Timber's given us a dimension, where when you're a Mick Arteta man, where he doesn't like to be overloaded. The one player that stops the overloads is, especially down our right hand side, is Timber. He's really effective at doing that, and that's why he gets in the team. But above Benjamin White because of that aspect, the defensive aspect, and I do think potentially. Yeah, he could give us that kind of thing. Don't get me wrong, Benjamin White and Saka Access, that was a fantastic partnership when we were playing good football, especially towards the end of the 23-24 season. It was a no-brainer, but football evolves, isn't it? Teams began to work us out. One aspect where we are strong is down that right-hand side with Timber in the team.
Wish we could say that about the left-hand side. I wanted to ask you lot as well, going back to the Tomiyasu thing, or even on the topic of fullbacks. Now, it might be a bit different, but on the premise that Tomiyasu's contract has been ripped up, I don't know if Berta's getting praised for it, but I know Edu used to get slaughtered for that. Fair enough, he was doing it more often. Do you think that's fair? Because Berta's done the same thing.
It's the players that Edu done it to. So, for example, the Aubameyangs, right? They ripped up his contract. People actually, a bit negative towards that because obviously it was Aubameyang, but we clearly saw that Aubameyang was someone that maybe started to think that he was ahead of the club. He was bigger than the club. You started to see that after he signed the thing that everyone wanted to sign, his performances dipped. Right? So again, we get attached to these players because one moment in time they brought us happiness, they brought us joy, they brought us some good stuff, but eventually times change. Like we keep saying, all of us have said it, times change. Times definitely do change. And this piece of business there, ripping up Tomiyasu's contract, smart business. Had to be done.
Smart business.
Smart business.
That's it. I think
how's it smart? He's got a year left to run. It's like smart business. Smart business.
So who's going to buy him? Who's going to buy Tomiyasu?
I'm not debating it, but smart business or just the right people.
Let me explain my smart business. Who's going to buy Tomiyasu?
No one. It's essential. Cool. It's essential business to just get. You have to make that sort of sacrifice.
Exactly. So we're paying $6 million for the rest of the year. No one's going to buy me. Leaves on a free. Smart business.
I think the thing with Aubameyang. Going back to what we said about Aubameyang, the Aubameyang thing was basically, you're right. The guy was trying to engineer a move to Chelsea before we won the FA Cup in 2020. Not a lot of people want to talk about that. He didn't really want to sign the contract in the first place. And I always say that it's what happened with Mikel Arteta. Clearly was provoked. I get it when it's your mum. However, you can't do that to your manager. Never do that to your manager. Once you do that to manager,
You lost his trust.
You think it was something else. No, it was one of the most serious things you could do to another human being. What he did to Arteta, he had to go. You can't do that to your manager. Never. Can't do that. No matter how provoked you are, and I do get it. Your mum's ill and everything. You can't do that to your manager. Doesn't matter what your manager does or anything. Don't do that, especially when you're a captain.
Yeah, communication as well. Communication. If you know that you're going to be a day late or whatever the case may be, just communicate. That's just what you do.
But there's three sides to the story, man. There's
I hear that. I hear
that. Batman and one day the truth.
I can understand why he lost his temper, but
yeah,
when you're captain of Arsenal, you can't lose your temper and do what you did. You know, this isn't like a playground or a street where you've got to react to something in the street. You're at Arsenal Football Club.
And you need to remember as well is that he was one of the most mature players at the time, right? So there are a lot of players were young, and a lot of players need to look up to that and need to think, okay, I can't think that is normal. I can't think that that's all right. That I can, come in willy-nilly and stuff like that. Because we need to remember when Arteta first come in, the first thing he said, which actually got us all on board, is that the culture at the club was rubbish. The culture at the club was rubbish. No one was playing for the badge. No one was actually wanted to win anything. The club just thought, turning up, finish top 4, good next season. He's come in and changed that, and that's
right. So I think it was sad that I thought. Well, you look at all the players you got rid of: Guendouzi, Lacazette, eventually Ozil. Didn't even have him in the squad when we came back from lockdown. He wasn't even in the squad.
Pepe.
People make it. I understand where people come from, where they think it's because of his stand with the Chinese Muslims, the Uyghur Muslims, or his stand with his salary. But it's a lot more than that. If you saw that Europa League final was a mess. There were players who basically stuck 2 fingers up to Unai Emery. They cost us that game, not him.
Kenny, I'm happy you said that because I always say Emery let us down in the league that year. The players let him down in the final.
Oh, they showed complete disregard and complete contempt for
didn't respect themselves. How you lose a 4-1 in the European final?
And the person who was the leader of that was Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil was a bad egg.
Great player, bad egg. Great player, bad egg.
Yeah, great player, very good player, but bad egg.
One of the best to play for Arsenal in terms of what he is.
He's a bad egg, man. He should have gone to jail for that. The way he let us down in Baku.
No, I agree. I agree. There was times where, for example, again, when you're looking at players like Ozil, you're looking at players like Aubameyang. When things are going wrong or when you need someone to start, these are the players that you're looking towards.
Yeah.
These are the players that you want to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to put the team on my back and we're going to go and do this thing. But when you're looking at Ozil, he's got his head down. Aubameyang is kind of strolling off and, not really looking at it. Come on.
That Chelsea team in 2020, they weren't all that. We weren't playing against
They had Giroud up front.
Exactly. They weren't all that. They beat us
Giroud up front. To the point. Giroud. After this, what made me mad, right? Is because the body language.
They dumped on us, man.
Yeah, the body language that I saw from Ozil and Aubameyang during the match, that got me. That was a little bit upsetting. But the fact that Giroud after the game saying "Thank you, Arsenal. Thank you, Arsenal."
Yeah.
Mad.
I mean, and the goals they scored were just comical. They were just tappings virtually. They were just easy goals.
Boys against men.
You have to blame him for that as well.
Team weren't all that.
Yeah, it's
weren't all that unbeatable.
It's 50-50. Players let them down, but Emery. Listen, we'll talk about Emery on another day, man. But yeah.
Speaking of Chelsea, my last thing before I let you lot get out of here, yeah. What do you lot make of Madueke? Arsenal are among several clubs interested in signing Noni Madueke this summer. Chelsea are thought to value the player at 50 million, but that price could be open to negotiation.
Can I ask something? Would you guys have taken Madueke if he was still at PSV?
Yeah, it'd be a lot less. And the dynamic, the time we would have went from when he's at PSV. Are you talking about now if he was at PSV?
If he was at PSV, would you take him?
Nah.
No?
We need right now. We need right now, innit, type of thing.
I think what it is that
and I don't want this guy to kill Wanyere's minutes.
Right, football's a dog eat world, man. You can't when you're at Arsenal Football Club, you can't protect the youngsters all the time. You've got another youngster in Marzou Skelly. He's take the game by the scruff of the neck. He is showing that He's tactically able to interpret what we need. We can't wait for Ranieri. Next season, Ranieri needs to, footballing-wise, has to grow up. Because if he doesn't, he'll get left behind. It's a horrible... Football's it's ruthless at football, mate.
It is. It is.
And he, as much as we love his potential, he shouldn't make it easy for his manager to leave him on the bench. He should be this pre-season, in 2 weeks' time, that's when he needs to be taking the balls by the horn and showing his manager that I should be playing in that first team and they should never, ever leave me out ever again or not bring me on. That's his challenge now. He should look at his mate, Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's the same age as him virtually, and said, this guy has been selected for the full England side by the New England manager, Thomas Tuchel. He's just been rewarded with a new contract. He's seen as a mainstay in his team. He's the same age as me. What am I doing?
And that's the thing. People tend to not realize as well is that because Nwaneri is the left winger, he's the more creative player, attacking player. People are talking about Nwaneri, but if you actually know the youth system and see what people were saying, people were raving on about Miles Lewis-Skelly for a long time. I used to go watch the under-18s and under-21s, and this is the guy that stood out. This is the guy that was powerful. He's running, he's engine. Miles Lewis-Skelly has been just, again, because he's not that striker, he's not that guy that takes everyone else on. Miles Lewis-Skelly has been about it for a long time. Ask all the coaches, ask everyone. Nwaneri is the guy that obviously is attacking. He's scored some great goals, but I agree with Kenny there.
Like, physically, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing about it. He's 17, 18.
Yeah, but the thing is that again, that maturity, the maturity that Skelly shows.
No, pick up Miles Lewis-Skelly. I get what you're saying.
You know, the maturity that Skelly shows, it shows that again, like he's ready for the big side.
You know what? It shows that people are human. You know. As well, because Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri, they're two different players, they're two different people, they're developing physically. Yeah, but I do think many people probably had, like casual fans, Nwaneri is probably the one they thought would be doing the standout stuff.
Yeah, I thought so.
No, that's the thing is that Nwaneri, the thing about him, he shows his age.
Yeah,
he shows that he's still young. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
He's still young. He shows that he's got talent. He's got great talent. But you can see that maturity is still not there. Skelly, even the way this guy talks, even the way this guy composes himself, you can see that this guy is older than he actually is.
They've saved us so much money, though.
But you know another thing as well. Did you guys watch England? Obviously, they retained their European Championship title. When Yeri did the start games, he was coming off the bench,
right, which was wrong from Carlsley. I mean, he won the trophy, but there was times he was like, he'd come on, you're like, "Wow, why is he not starting?" He's the youngest in the squad, though. Or was.
Yeah, but even so, he's at a big club like Arsenal where he's featured. He's been in squads for the biggest games ever, and he hasn't. There's not, mate. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. That's no indictment on Arsenal, but I do think that the Brentford situation and games where he wasn't great off the ball, that did count against him. And
these are the things he needs to improve on.
Well, 100%, he needs to do it quickly, though.
But you need to
as
show
you say,
it.
you've got an experience playing Madueke coming that everyone, for some reason, we're linked with.
He's shit, man.
You got to prove it. He's not shit, but you
he's shit, man.
Nah,
for what we need him to be, he's shit. I don't think he's shit, but he's shit. For what we need, you can't tell me about Rodrygo and Eze and these guys.
Why don't you rate Madueke?
Because I don't want to. One, I'm not killing Nwaneri's minutes. Two, the one thing I like about Madueke is I see a lot of players that have all the ability in the world, but they don't have, not necessarily mentality. They don't really rate themselves. I think Madueke has good ability, but it's not great. But he rates himself. At the end of the day, he's an England international and a Chelsea player. You're not going to play in your favoured position too many times off the right, so we might as well stay with that. The left-hand side, he don't really want to play there. Again, if he signed for us and he does what Saka does, great. But I don't think you're a level raiser. You're probably going to be on like a rightly so. If I'm Madueke's agents, you're young, you're British, you're coming to another, you're going from one big club to another. You're trying to get over 100k in a 5-year deal. It's not looking good. It's not making sense. And it just screams. I actually can see this happening because we love bargain hunting at Chelsea, if you can call it a bargain.
Open goals.
Shit, man.
It's the open goal. But you know why I have misgivings about him? It's footballing reasons. I look at him and I think this guy gets into fantastic positions.
Greedy as fuck.
And then when I look at his final ball, I think his end product, I'm thinking, oh, for God's sake, man. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I'm a football fan. There's times when I watch him with Chelsea, I look at him and go, have you guys done that as well when you watched him? You go,
yeah.
That's why I said he's effing greedy, which I like it, but I hate it.
Say the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean.
He seems. Do you know what I'll give him? He seems so natural when it comes to beating a person.
Yeah. He's not shit, but for what I need at my team, your shit. You can't tell me about Eze and Rodrygo and even half the names we've been linked with, and then bring this. I can see it happening.
One last question, guys. Would you take Madueke for a young 20 million?
20 million, that the dynamics are different now. 20 million squad filler great, but 50, where we're talking about we need to sell to buy, not even sell to buy, but we need to find money and we need level raises, and it can get ugly very quickly in the season, and we've got to deliver. If they rock up with Madueke and Sesko, two players that more Sesko, I believe in Sesko a lot more than Madueke, but it's not inspiring the fans. It's going to get ugly. You've wasted money.
Add another 10 million. Add another 10 million. Go get Kudus. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get this.
And if we're gonna get Madueke, I'd rather Wanyeri get the minutes. Generally, I know he's more experienced and all that stuff than Wanyeri, but I'd rather give it to him.
Thing is, right. The thing about it, right, is if Madueke had his final ball was of the highest standards, Chelsea wouldn't be thinking of letting him go, would they?
Yeah.
Well, Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea are looking to let him go. To be honest, I think this is just a lot of rumors of just going about, because you haven't seen.
I think they'll listen to offers for sure.
Yeah. I think they did say there is rumors they're listening for offers. I think.
Yeah. I don't think they'll force him out. I think it's more him.
They've got a lot of wingers.
Newcastle made sense for him because but respectfully, Murphy's been very good for Newcastle, but you could see you get like disarming him for his spot potentially. But it looks like they're going for Elanga now.
Yeah, they're going Elanga. They're already putting a 50 million bid for Elanga.
Yeah, so Madueke
he's another one. He's another one that sometimes when I watch him and I think I get really excited, and then when I see the final ball, I swear at the TV sometimes with him. He's another one that I need more from. The player that I really, really thought was going to turn out to be a top player was Hudson-Odoi. I really thought
him, Nelson, and Sancho ain't really done nothing.
Injuries, but I always thought Hudson-Odoi was going to be the one who's going to like get to the sort of levels that high levels, and I'm just looking at him and I'm thinking I'm a bit lukewarm about him. But it's injuries, isn't it? He's had an Achilles injury.
Gonna kill you. You can't come back from that sometimes, man.
Yeah. But he's a player I thought would go on.
But his decision making's a bit pony as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, Gordon. I think Gordon.
I'm having him, but myth.
No.
Yeah, this guy hates Gordon. He hates Anthony Gordon. He hates him.
Please keep this guy away from our club.
No, you can't make a case for Madueke and then shit on Anthony Gordon.
I'm comparing Anthony Gordon. I look at Anthony Gordon and I see someone, right, and I think there's better out there. There's better out there than him. I can see why team Newcastle had gone in for him, but when he wasn't playing, they didn't actually miss him, did they?
No,
Gordon makes more sense than this guy. How can you defend Madueke and then get on to Gordon?
I didn't defend him. I didn't defend Madueke. I'm just asking, like in terms of dribbling ability, Madueke has that on lock. He doesn't need to try. Gordon works hard. So basically, we're getting another Martinelli. There you go.
True. That's true.
Gordon's on the big games, man.
No. We're getting do you know who I want? Do you know who else I want? Mitoma. Oh, someone said it. There you go. Rohil, Mitoma over Gordon. Thank you very much. Gordon works.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted, but I am tempted. Sometimes I just feel, has he got Trossard vibes? Is he, where Trossard's a good player? Can Mitoma make that transition to a big club?
He's
another 28-year-old. I like Mitoma. I do like him.
He's good. He's good, man. He's good. But again, Gordon.
Gordon. Nah. My situation with Gordon is that I just look at him and I don't see anything spectacular or anything.
Nothing. Kenny, you said it perfectly. When he's not playing, are they missing him? Are they missing Gordon when Gordon's not playing?
No, they don't.
They don't miss him. Oh, man.
I like Gordon, man.
If Harvey Barnes had more pace, I think he's better than Gordon.
Listen, I agree.
I like Barnes. Harvey Barnes ain't dead.
Yeah, Harvey Barnes. Yeah.
Harvey Barnes is a good player.
Yeah. Harvey Barnes.
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes better than Gordon.
But Gordon was ahead of him though, and with Eddie Howe.
Nah, Gordon. Nah, please. We get Gordon, and we're gonna be left. We're gonna be equally as frustrated as when we had Martinelli. People are talking about get Martinelli out. We're gonna have the same issue with Gordon. I told you that for free. Gordon's not that guy.
No,
We ain't getting Gordon. Newcastle make us pay an arm and a leg. They clearly don't like us. Like, it's a non-story.
Thank God. I don't want Gordon.
I mean, if there's one, I think everybody knows the one player we'd all want from Newcastle if we could with Isaac, but
that'd be
forget about it.
To us. But
I want another player from Newcastle as well, which is Bruno.
Oh, Gyokeres. He's got good work rate as well as good ball skills,
leadership as well, work rate.
They're the guys you got to get before they end up at Newcastle. Like, you should have got him when he was at Lyon.
Yeah, the thing is that when you know what it is, people say that, and whilst I do agree, I looked at him whilst he was at Lyon, and I was like,
yeah, but that's your fault then, because Newcastle didn't do that. I wanted him. I got a video on YouTube somewhere. I wanted him. Like, sometimes you can just see. We get it wrong all the time, but sometimes you can just see. It's like Belemba. Everybody saw him at Leo. You rock up at Brighton. The price goes, I'm exaggerating, but it goes from 10 million to probably 100. And then what's going on here?
No, you're right. Sometimes you do need to take that chance. You need to take that chance. Big rigs.
And that's the thing. Like, and we keep missing out on these kind of guys. We've obviously got some good signings, but it's like we haven't really been finding the gems.
Paqueta, I don't rate Paqueta.
Our point, I would have had him. I think we've gone past that now, though.
No, I don't rate Paqueta. I never rated Paqueta. Yeah, he's all right, decent.
But I don't know what he's getting charged for. I don't know if he's going to be playing football for a while, you know.
Yeah, trust. Yeah. He's the gambling thing. Yeah, he's a myth. He's a big myth now. So yeah, man, be interesting, lads. I'm gonna let you. It's been close to 2 hours. Time has flown. I'm gonna let you lot enjoy your Friday. Kenny, Oz, appreciate you. Let people know they can find you.
Well, you can only find me on Instagram at KennyKen1972. I like you hardworking guys. I think you're mad to have YouTube channels, but I get why you do it because it's hard work. And putting up with certain comments, you've got to have the thickest of skin. But one thing
especially
I like
days like this,
when you do things, you know what I love about your YouTube, you got that kind of delete button to delete people's bad behavior, delete them and send them to put them in detention or just expel them for bad behavior.
That's what I got my mods doing.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh man,
yeah.
Where can they find you?
For me, it's RYL Football Hub. I'm on YouTube and TikTok. Again, it's amazing to chat with my fellow Arsenal fans, man. It's good to chat to like-minded people.
Come on, even if they don't rate Martinelli. But on that note, people, they like
strong.
He's gonna prove you lot wrong. You lot clip this up. Martinelli is getting 15 goals in all comps. Peace.
I hope so.
What did you say?
I hope so.
Okay, remember, I'm going to say this one more time. He's getting 15 goals in all comps. Jesus is going to, towards the end of next season, Jesus is going to score 5 in the last 5 and we're going to win the Prem.
Like